people who can tell us what is who can tell us and take and ignite our curiosity to know more behind the scenes of the cameras and in front of the scene of the cameras to understand it and take it forward to the children so that they are future ready. And amongst us, we have Mr. Sultan. He has got 7 awards, national film awards from the president himself. And we have Arya Chitra. She's the Nikon Photography Club head with us, and we welcome you on the EMI forum of Big Idea, Mr. Sultan and Arya. And over to you, Mr. Sultan. Would like you to introduce yourself and take the forum forward.
Thank you, Tripta. It's a pleasure on a Saturday morning to interact with educators. I think it's a great initiative what you're doing.
I think it's frozen. Is my thing gone?
LXL Ideas. My company name, LXL Ideas, literally is learning the X factor of life. It's learning life multiplied. So I've spent a large part of my life trying to create experiences because what I've learned after having worked with hundreds of thousands of children in schools is that you cannot teach children. And that's been my biggest learning. The interesting thing is that children learn. And what I can do as an educator, as a teacher, as a principal, is to create an environment in which children learn. So the role of actually parents and educators is to create an environment. Learning happens as a byproduct. And somewhere a lot of us kind of get misconstrued with this concept that you're the one who's teaching. So my job is about creating experiences. So I'm going to talk to you about 2 different experiences we do. One of them is our biggest company is called Crayon, and we are India's largest children's events company. And from the outside, we look like an events company, but what we are doing is we are creating experiences for children. And I can see one old friend of mine, Zenobia, good to see you from Hyderabad. Right. And I'm known across the country for organizing the Horlicks Kids event. And we've been doing this event for 22 years. I've had over 3 million children who participated in that event. So today, some of India's finest actors, writers, speakers, politicians to, I don't know what all have for the first time expressed themselves in that event. So a child participating in a dance or a singing or speaking learns a lot more life skills than many years in school. So that's the reason why we do events. So, very happy to, share with you that whether it is India's largest finance literacy program we do with the National Stock Exchange, or one of the largest citizenship program we do with Janagraha, or with Akshaya Patra Foundation, we work with some of the most rural parts of the country to do life skills programs, or today with Dell, one of India's largest brands. For 9 years now, we've been teaching teachers about digital literacy. Suddenly, the pandemic has made it relevant, but we've been doing it for now the 10th year. So that's the kind of work we do with Crayon, all about engaging children and teachers into meaningful activities, which teaches them life skills. So that brings me to the point that I spent a large part of my life. I introduced life skills in schools in Bangalore in 2000. CBSE introduced it in 2010. So we were a decade ahead of our time. We introduced life skills in many cities across the country and in the Middle East as well. And after 8 or 10 years, in around 2010-11, I had become an HR company, not a life skills company. I had 200-300 people working, and my job was to actually recruit people and train them. And I was losing the joy of working with children, because every time you train a wonderful life skills facilitator, some school would take them off on board, right? So I was looking at two challenges I was facing. One was, obviously, every time you made a module, and any principal here, any trainer here on this call would agree with it, and I'm sure Arya would also agree with it. When you give that learning module to 10 different teachers, they deliver it in 10 different manners, because everyone brings in their own individuality, which is a great thing if the individual has stuff in them. But if the individual is of low, acumen, then they kind of kill the module. They can beautifully kill a fantastic module made by the best person on the planet. So I was looking at a solution where how do you consistently pass that message to children? And on the other hand, how do you scale up? Because in India, we're talking about what, 1.5 million schools plus. So I was looking at a solution that you can scale. And this journey was a long journey. I've been thinking about it for a long time till one day I attended a workshop. And I do attend a lot of workshops. I conduct workshops and I attend and I do a lot of learning programs. And one of the facilitators asked me a very interesting question. What's the first memory of learning that you have? What is something that you can recollect, which is your oldest memory? And, I thought about it and I realized it was a movie called Rocky. I was 2 years old or 3 years old. I remember distinctly going with my parents to the cinema theater, right? I remember the opening song when you introduce Sanjay Dutt, Doston Ko Salam. And I remember the script and the story. And I said, oh my God, this is like 30 years ago. And I still remember everything. And then I started a journey of meeting. I have met every big filmmaker this country has seen, whether it's in Kerala or Tamil Nadu or, in Andhra or definitely all the Bollywood biggies. And I always ask them one simple question. We are the world's largest filmmaking country. I don't know if you know about it. India is the world's largest filmmaking country. Bollywood makes more films than all of Europe and Hollywood put together. And you and I know that Bollywood is not our biggest industry. We've got the Tamil, the Telugu, the Malayalam, the Kannada, the Odia, the Assamese, the Bengali, Bhojpuri. You've got so many different film industries. And yet, if I ask all my panelists today and all the attendees today to name 5 movies made for children in the past 10 years, you will all struggle. And somehow the world's largest filmmaking country, the world's largest young population, I mean, I need to contextualize that as well. If you put all children in India below 18 years old, I think we're almost 300 million. We're the world's 7th largest country. I mean, it's incredible the kind of numbers this country has. And we make the least number of films for children. So it was in 2010, I set out and I said that, can we change that? And you can change that by creating good films. And I've done a lot of research. In fact, I've published research papers around cinema. And I'm talking to educators. So let me, summarize a lot of my research in one simple, information. Cinema blends audiovisual, storytelling, entertainment, and emotions. And as an educator, you can use any one to teach. Obviously, you can use stories to teach children. You can make it entertaining and teach children. You can make it emotional. If you want to teach children about empathy for animals or for the planet, emotions are a great way of teaching. Emotions are a great way of teaching cultures, different differences between religion or empathy to gender. Emotion is a great way of teaching, right? And, audiovisual, of course, today we are all talking about audiovisual. And remember, cinema as a country today, it influences our fashion, it influences our culture, right? It influences our language, it influences the way we think. And whether you like it or not, you go to a Malayali wedding today, you will find a Mehndi ceremony. I mean, which is very Punjabi and North Indian. And that's the way it's so ingrained in our culture. So I had one simple question and one grouse, and that is unfortunately, we used one of the most powerful mediums only for entertainment. We've relegated it for only entertainment. I use the word very consciously. Cinema has been relegated to only being entertainment. I think cinema has got a lot more potential to teach, to educate. And that's what we try to do. So we set out and we started making films. So today we're the largest producers of films for children in India. We've won 7 national awards. I'm told that if you're a filmmaker in India, 1 national award is a lifetime achievement. And we won awards in over 500 international film festivals. So you name the country in the world, my film's been there, they won awards over there. But that's not what I set out to do. What's important and for educators to know is that I have over 500,000 children who watch films in school to learn life skills. And it's been probably one of the most amazing projects we've done because children love the idea. Once you watch a film, there's an interaction that's happening. There are workbooks, there are projects, there are activities. Parents talk about it. We have films which we've made only for parents. So we've got films for children. Every class has 10 films. We've got films for teachers. We've got films for parents. So what I do now, Tripta, is probably the most unique education methodology in the world. It's called film pedagogy, using film in the teaching learning process. So let me just stop here and share with you one clip quickly, which is recently, this is the one that got me the 7th National Award. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you can listen to it, because normally Zoom, you can always log on to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
There is a share option, share sound option. That should help us listen to the sound also.
Is it? So let me just check.
I think on the top, where you have the share, when you are sharing your screen, share sound, you have a list in that, you have a share sound option. So,
I have only share screen here, ma'am.
So
Anyway,
when you
this
press
is play.
that, Sultan, when you press that on the below panel, you will have a clickable option, a share sound, share computer sound. Just click that, and then you share your
in the
document.
more option. In the more option you have.
I think I'm on an iPad, so maybe that's the reason I'm not getting it.
Oh, probably. Okay, that's fine.
I think it should play. Let's just try it. I think it should.
Okay, let's try.
Once there was a country called Frutistan, the land of apple eaters and orange eaters. And in this country there lived two friends. By the way, what's your name?
Tulip. And yours?
Daisy.
You need to work on your sketches, yeah? I will help you. Next week is my birthday, and you are coming.
And then, one day,
I checked your friend's book post, and I didn't like what you wrote about orange eaters.
and I saw yours, and I can say the same thing about you.
I don't think you know much about orange eaters.
And you're a PhD in apples.
Your people are number one in spreading rumors.
You people always blame us apple eaters.
I should say the same to you.
My friends are right. Apples and oranges can never be friends.
An apple eater, an orange eater. Be wonderful all your life.
Perfect. Wonderful, Sultan.
Yeah. So that film, if you probably got the gist, we are always looking for differences, and we are always trying to find out. We are always trying to say that we're better than the others, and it's a very strong message. And how do you communicate this? It could be a cultural difference, it could be a language difference, it could be a religion difference. For every northeastern child that comes into South India, we see them as different people, right? And every Indian that's gone to UK or the US, they look at as desis, right? So we have these differences, and this is education. You need to teach children. I can talk about this film for the next one day. There are two of the biggest change makers on the planet. The first is technology, and the second is migration. People are moving more than ever before. And if we are only treating our children as marks making machines and teaching them math and science and not teaching them how to adapt to different cultures, we're failing in our purpose. So that's a topic. And similarly, what gives me a lot of pride is the kind of topics we've dealt with, adolescent issues, right? How do you teach a 9-10-year-old boy about adolescent issues? Boy, remember, adolescence is always taught to girls, and that is hygiene. We never discuss adolescence with boys. And if ever there was a topic that needed to be discussed with boys, should have been adolescent issues. What about gender bias? Right? How do we teach children to respect old age or empathy to animals? Or on the other hand, there could be issues which are so important for us, anger. No one There was never a chapter called anger in my entire 18 years of education. And different emotions that we need to talk about. We've got a film on boredom. I mean, just the lack of understanding of the idea of anger or the idea of boredom. And these are so important, right? When we talk about life skills, yes, we need to talk to children about communication, which we do, or creativity, problem solving. They're very important life skills, and we do that. But along with that, they've introduced issues. So our films are beautifully made. In fact, this is made by Rukhsana Tabassum, who's won a lot of awards all over the world for this film. Some of Bollywood's brightest young filmmakers today have made their first films for us, because I believe in a lot of young talent. And these are issues which are so relevant to the whole world. And that's why a lot of schools across the world are also today using films in education. So I'm going to stop about school cinema here and just add one point about another project that's keeping me very, very excited. So when I traveled across the world with the films, we realized that there are other idiots like me who are making some outstanding films, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I was the only one alone here making these kind of films. But there's some great films from Argentina to Canada to New Zealand to South Africa to Kazakhstan to Kyrgyzstan to Georgia. There are people making great films. The challenge is, how do you distribute and how do you market it? It's like McDonald's burger. Just because there's a McDonald's burger in every nook and corner doesn't mean it's the best burger in the world. In fact, if anyone's eaten a good burger, will tell you that is not even a burger, right? So what gets distributed is a lot of big studios from Hollywood, from Bollywood. That's what gets distributed. The wonderful films made by independent filmmakers are only seen in film festivals. And the idea of the film festival is a 100-year-old idea, but it's a very elitist idea. Very few cities hold film festivals. In India, the only city that consistently has hosted a film festival is Hyderabad, right? The NFDC runs a children's film festival there, and we won the last three editions of the NFDC. We won the best Golden Elephant Award for our films. There are around 10,000 children who come to that film festival. And it happens in very few cities, and very few children go to, the film festival. So I know in Hyderabad, if I pick up only a Gitanjali school, they probably have more than 10,000 children. So one school actually has more children than all that attend a film festival. So we came up with a simple idea. We said, if children are not going to film festivals, can we take the festival to the children? And we launched something called as the International Kids Film Festival. So we launched it in 2017, and in 2019, when we did the festival, we had 10,000 schools hosting a festival. We had films from 40 countries in 35 languages. We had 150 films, and children were sitting down and watching films from Puerto Rico. Can you imagine a child in rural Medak district of Andhra Pradesh sitting and watching? And they're learning cultures, they're learning history, they're learning issues of the world. And let me assure you, as an educator, the biggest goal of education is to enable our children to understand people better, to understand the world better. If you can enable our children to understand the world better, they become better human beings. And a better human being is a better colleague and a better entrepreneur, a better husband, a better, it's everything. So I think we need to create good humans. And that's what the film festival does. And the festival has 3 parts to it. There's watch, learn, and make. Children watch good films. And my logic is, it's like taking children to a book library. If you don't read good books, you're never going to write well. And similarly, if children don't watch good films, they're always exposed to a very substandard YouTube videos and slapstick stuff that you see on television or on the OTT channels. So children are not watching good stuff. And secondly, you need to teach them the art of filmmaking. Filmmaking is not about picking up a mobile and then shooting 2 things and saying, I made a film. It's not TikTok. It's not Insta Reels. Filmmaking is an art. And ask me, I've made over 140 films. Filmmaking is 2 things: script, planning. And most people don't do the second, and the first one, though, is not even looked at. It's just about actors, it's about songs. I think it's all about the script, the idea. What are you trying to communicate? What's the story you're telling? And the second one is planning. I think filmmaking has taught me more planning than my courses at MIT and in England. right? So it's watch, learn, and make. And we need to allow children to make. So my logic has been that when I grew up, Rita, you grew up, we were taught how to read and write, right? Because that was the language that the world understood and communicated it, the written and the spoken word. Today, we're living in a visual world where most of the content that's being created is in the visual form. So in a visual world, we need to prepare our children to create content visually. So teaching filmmaking, teaching the art of photography is for me as basic as ABCD. But somehow it still sounds very fancy. You need to go to a master's program to learn media or a bachelor's program to learn filmmaking. I think it should be introduced in grade kindergarten. Okay, maybe grade 1, at best, because very little children can pick it up much faster. So yes, so that's my work in film pedagogy. Extremely passionate, and I'm sure you figured that out.
Yes.
20. So I'm going to stop here. Otherwise, I'm going to just go on and on.
So, Mr. Sultan, it is like wonderful seeing the spark in your eyes while you were telling, and I'm so glad that we have got Arya, who is the other side of the camera, who wants to bring photography club in India through us with EMI, and you are sitting here talking about the importance of cinema. I would like Arya also to add on a few words. Arya, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, educators, EMI team. It's my pleasure and privilege to be talking to you. And after Sultan, I think can just add few more words to the program. So let me introduce myself. My name is Arya Chitra, and I'm from the Nikon head office team. We have a program called Nikon Kids Photo Club. We've been running that program for past 6 years in Middle East and Africa. It's been successful. We've been teaching photography in school as an after-school program, but as well as in many schools, we are in the curriculum. So we teach during the school hours. And as Sultan said that the children should be taught as young as a KG grade, yes, we have done that. We have a program with James Modern Academy where we taught KG2 students photography. It was a summer camp. And trust me when I say this, the cameras were accessible. We had parents inquiring about buying the cameras for the children. So when we talk about photography to children, or filmmaking to children. So filmmaking is a second step. Photography is the base of any art or medium. So when we talk about photography, we're talking about mass education or mass media in general. And at this time of the time, I think it's a need of the hour that our children should be exposed with what is the media all about? Because when they learn photography or when they learn the art of filmmaking, you are making your child aware. The children become aware. There's so much of negativity and negative publicity or of media. How do we shield our children with that perspective? So whenever we teach our children photography, we teach them the tools, how to filter out what is wrong and what is right. Because at the end of the day, believe me, we are watching the world through an eye of a photographer, right? So there are mass media people, everybody. We have not seen the world. I've not seen the entire world. So I'm watching the news by an eye of a photographer or a filmmaker. What is the credibility of that video filmmaker and a photographer? So that is questionable. But then me as an educator or a photographer, I know how to filter that out. I know how to question my thoughts. And that's what with photography, you give that child the power to question his or her thoughts and also the power to actually express himself or herself. You give a tool to a child to express him or her. How amazing is that? Because as a children, their expressions are pure, they are unique, and they have no filter. We being and we are the ones who have filters in our talk, but then children are pure when it comes to any kind of art. So photography also being one of the medium of the art. There is dance, there is art, there's painting, there is calligraphy, there's so many of them. So when you add photography as one of the art skill program to your schools, and as an educator, I believe that you empower a child with a 360-degree toolkit to kind of live a life. Because as Sultan said, yes, we need empathy in life. How do we teach empathy in life? By showing them the videos or showing them a movie about animal care. But that's what the medium is all about. Let me show you a small movie that we show to children. And let me kind of give me a second. Let me share that my screen. Everybody can see my screen. Tripta, can you just give me a thumbs up? I can see you. All right, so let me play this for everyone.
Some go wild over the latest trends. But my passion lies with what's irreplaceable. I see myself as a messenger, speaking up for those not usually heard. Through my lens, I don't see animals. I see friends, my neighbors, who share their homes with me. But because of us, they're disappearing. And if they go, so will we. I use photos to tell their stories, to make people stop and listen, and to show the world what they don't see. People didn't believe I could do it. They called me rash, impatient even. But believe me, I have waited. Hours, days, rain or shine, all to capture the magic. Sometimes, I'm reminded that what I do is dangerous. But to me, the real danger lies in the fate of my neighbors. And for what's worth protecting, we cannot wait. I am Josiah Lonstein. And I am more than you expect.
Wonderful, Chitra. Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you so much. So that's actually it's about Josiah. So he's 11-year-old. I think in 2018 he was 11. So I'm sure he's 14 or 15 right now. But then that's the power of photography, that photography has no age. And that's what, when you are planning to talk to the school management about the program, it is something that you can introduce to as young as 5-year-old to as old as 16 or 15, what's the 12th graders as well. So that's the program that we run in Middle East. So we have a fixed curriculum that we cover up with photography. Then we have filmmaking as a separate program. So we have concised our program into lectures, 12 programs or 13 programs, depending upon the school, after school number of sessions that the school has. So I think we are very proud to be partnering with EMI because we've been doing, let me kind of be, it's a proud moment for to say that we're doing a very good job in Middle East and Africa. So we want to kind of bring the entire program to India. So Nikon India is partnered with us in this because Middle East was there. Nikon India is on board for this program. We are working with Teach for India. We are working with TAP, the Apprentice Project. So we, as an educator, our motive and our mission was always to empower children with photography, because I know we are a camera company. We are there for more than 100 years now. Nikon has a history of being in the industry for more than 100 years, and we are the only ones who master in imaging technology. We have no printers or copiers to market. It's only our cameras. But then we believe as a company that when we promote cameras, photographers are the heart of the camera. So they are so important. So we want to empower photographers. And by photographers, I'm talking about a 5-year-old child or a 10-year or a 15-year-old or a 40-year-old photographer like me. So that's the program that we're planning to bring it with EMI. So I'm glad that I have opportunity like this to speak out or reach out to the distinguished guests that we have today. So it's my honor. I guess, Tripta, I think that's what over from my end. You have any questions, please ask us. We are here to answer your questions. So all of you stay safe and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Arya and Mr. Sultan. I have a very, very budding question in my mind. You're doing so much for so many years, but still there are so many schools to reach out. I've been educator. I came to know about you through LinkedIn, and I feel that there are so many schools yet to know about it. So how can we bring your program, your understanding to the children, to the schools who are untouched?
I think, yeah, that's been like a constant journey of creating good stuff. And also, they're two very different things, creating something really meaningful. And on the other hand, selling it or reaching it out to schools. I think I'm very good with the former and not as good as, some of the people who make a lot more noise in the latter. So yes, I think while some of our biggest, just give me a second, please.
Sure, sure, sure. No worries.
She just
Let
needs
her be with the
attention.
camera.
Her
Let
mom's.
her be with the camera. Let her be with the camera. It's all about cameras today. All about cinemas today.
Because her mom's not yet back from the gym, I think. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, so to answer that question, I think, yeah, I think
So,
it's
Mr.
important that
Sultan, you can take a minute, calm her
a minute
down.
if you
I
can
will
just
ask a
speak to
question.
Arya.
I'll ask Arya the question. Don't worry at all. Don't worry at all. So, Arya, I have a question with you. You know, when Mr. Sultan brought up that beautiful picture of apples and of oranges,
Oranges, apple and
apple and
oranges.
oranges, this is such a beautiful picture. And I was putting one to one together, how this understanding of going out, going to the nature, being friends, watching them. And when they're saying, what are you drawing and all, I was thinking about how to bring in Nikon to India and to these schools wherein the child is able to express himself. Once the child steps into the school, he just understands pointers given by the parents, by the educators, that you have to do this, but the expression is taken away from them, and they have got 100 language to speak, 100 ways to express, and cinema is one of the biggest way to express them quietly, where they're not speaking, but rest everything is speaking so much more for them.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's what in our experience, we work with autistic children in Dubai. So we are tied up with Dubai Autism Center, which is run by our prince Sheikh Hamdan. So I've been teaching autistic children for past 5 years now. So we tied up with them in 2017, if I'm not wrong. Photography has made them express themselves because as an autistic child, their expression is photographic. They have a photographic memory. So when we teach them photography, you actually are empowering them to express themselves. It's not only about, I would say all children are beautiful and equally special. So with other children, when I say that with the normal children, so what happens there, the photography makes them calm down, because it is a proven fact that when you hold a camera, your hand and eye coordination gets better. When they are younger children, their focus becomes better, because when you focus to your viewfinder, holding a camera is also is actually an exercise, and it's also one of the, you can say,
Motor skills.
a milestone for a child to kind of get that camera next to their eye. So a lot of small, I would say, details help in empowering a child. And trust me, with studies, they need a program like this to kind of come in terms to express themselves through art. Education is important. Mathematics, everything is important. I know I've studied in India, so I believe that education is important. But when you bring a program like this and give it out to a child, I think you are giving them more channels of expressing themselves. Photography is also one of the career option that they can work in. We are working towards internship program with Nikon India. The children who are in the 12th graders, they can actually come and work with the Nikon India, and they can actually work towards what is a back end office that is empowering a camera brand like this. So there is more of a career, and you can say, and more of an expression for child to kind of look into their life, because I don't want to say that any other form of expression is not better. There's art, there's singing, there's dancing, and photography is also should be in part of that, because I think for a very long time people didn't realize that photographers are also artists.
Yes.
But then we are too. We are too. So that's what I think. I'm Sultan would agree that we are artists too. In fact, I believe that we are artists in so much quick seconds that we click the reality of the moment, unlike painters who take their time to paint their memories, but then photographers have to derive their art from the reality. So we are artists too.
Yeah, exactly. So, Mr. Sultan, I was like drawn with the movies of apples and oranges. That's what I was saying. That there's so much to teach through a movie. That one simple movie of a minute spoke so much about creativity, the thought process of the children, what all we were speaking, and how we can together take it. And I would like to ask everybody one more thing: who all have held a camera? Who all have been behind the scenes, have taken a movies? Anybody from the audience would like to answer their experiences? Anybody?
I think
You can unmute yourself and come forward. Anyone wanting to share their experiences?
Mr. Mohan is unmuted.
Yes, Mr. Mohan.
With your permission, let me first compliment Sultan and Chitra exceedingly well. I think I've been in teaching past 45 years. I've taught in modern school. Modern school is known for nothing else than the theatre, nothing else than the photography. We had Mr. O.P. Sharma as our photographer who taught the photography to the children. And I come from a college called Kirodimal College. Had a lecturer, professor, Dr. Frank Thakurdas. The products are Amitabh Bachchan, Shakti Kapoor, Kulbhushan Dharbanda. My batchmate is, Kulbhushan and we studied together. But unfortunately, very few of our teachers have picked up theatre as a pedagogy. All in JP schools. We have 27 schools. There is no school which doesn't have a theatre teacher, a dramatics teacher. All schools have dramatics. Theatre is being used as a medium of education. And similarly, we have photography club, but very few. Very recently, I've also come across, maybe Sultan might be knowing, there's a young boy, Saeed. Saeed has got Idea Rack. So he is there. I think I requested him to come as well as the program. I think marvelous, Sultan. Hats off to you. The way you have taken up this as a medium for children is a very courageous, you rightly said, is, it's relegated as only an entertainment kind of, but as a educational tool, I think there are maybe Sultan, maybe one who is there, and it's a very powerful medium of education. So we realized in Delhi University, the only college which was using theatre was Kirodimal College. So I had to shift the college from Hindu College to Kirodimal College and do a bit of theatre because I was also a sportsman. So my hats off to Tripta for picking up something very rare, but something very, very effective, very unique. I endorse it. So I endorse in that, and we are all with you from the heart. Thank you.
Can I just add something?
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Thank you for the compliment. But I think I picked up something extremely important in your comments. And what I picked up is a lot of us want to believe that schools today are doing a lot more for overall development. But let me assure you that schools were doing it much better in the earlier days. Today, there's a lot of labeling. There's a lot of marketing about overall development, but in the true sense, there's a lot of showcasing happening, but very little depth of work happening. So I studied in a school which had theater as an integral part of what we studied. I had a speech training teacher in the sense that I was taught how to pronounce different words. And even today, when some people ask me, your language is very clear. I said, I've studied in the US, I've studied in the UK, but my accent is not UK or US, it's Bangalore. Because I studied from a school which taught me accent. I played hockey right through my school days. Unfortunately, the same school does not have any one of this. I can mention many schools and many colleges which were actually doing better in the past, because today, whether you like it or not, Tripta, the focus is on academic grades. Remember, every parent putting a child into a school is coming and asking a question to the teacher, why is my child getting less marks? The more educated the parent, unfortunately, the lesser parenting they know. They tend to put unnecessary pressure on teachers and principals. And principals and teachers are actually very smart. They know things well. They know what needs to be done. But they are giving their customer what the customer is demanding. I'm using that word with a very conscious, thought. Parents have become customers. Schools have become businesses that are catering to the customer's need. And today, I would hate to go to most schools today. Madam, one of your Anupama madam, if I'm not wrong, in Zenobia, they're from Andhra Pradesh. And I don't know why nobody talks about some of the schools that originate in this country, which are focused only on academic grades. They take pride in the fact that children come at 5 in the morning to school, right? And they study till 8 in the evening. It's against child rights. In fact, I've had in the past, I don't want to mention the organization. I think I should be filing, public interest litigations against them, because that's not education. So for your question, why don't schools take up more programs like school cinema? When you talk to them, they say, fantastic, it's a great program. But when it actually comes to implementing, they're still focused on trying to figure out which is the next coaching class that can be integrated in school, which is the other program that can help my children get more grades. Unfortunately, that's the reality.
I think sorry.
Yeah, Annapurna ma'am, you want to ask?
Yes. I just want to answer to Sultan. See, when this entire structure, the so-called structure of schools moving to IIT oriented schools, my children also were in schools, and I fought with everybody, including my relations, to see to it that my boys did not get into that kind of. I was dead against it. I was fighting against the tide, I would say, but I stuck to it. And today we can see the difference. We can see the difference in the way that my boys have groomed and grown and what they are doing and all of that. I mean, I agree with you that, the commercialization of education has changed a whole lot of things. But I have one question for Sultan. Sultan, where I'm really impressed with the way you have taken up, film making, especially for children, in a very big way. And we can sense the passion in your face also, frankly speaking. Okay. And I would say that I would actually give you credit for changing the mindset of children's films from being fantasy oriented to actually something like learning, something where children can learn. See, it's a very, the visual media is a very powerful medium. As you mentioned that, you still remember the movie that you saw when you were 2 or 3 years old, that Rocky movie. It is that powerful a medium. And I think commercialization of this is also set in right there. When the Superman and Spider-Man and all these movies, more of fantasy oriented, have set in. But what they've not realized is, I always had one small problem with these kind of movies, where children start relating to them. And we've had stories of children trying to jump off from here and there and things like that, because they want to emulate the Superman and things like that. So moving away from fantasy oriented to learning oriented, but at the same time, not like a regular lesson, that is what is commendable, I would say. And so here I just have one question. What kind of learning outcomes do you look at? I agree with you when you're talking about life skills, specific learning outcomes when you are actually saying. I mean, I am a hardcore academician, so everything stems from learning outcomes to the teaching plan and assessment, and this is how my mind works all the time.
Yeah. So, ma'am, I'm a thinker, I'm a researcher. So, I'm going to answer the question second, but I'm going to pick up a particular aspect of, creation that you spoke about. That there's just too much of fantasy, too much of superhero films.
Yes.
Anyone who creates any content, whether it's a filmmaker, a writer, a journalist, there's a sense of responsibility that comes with it. Unfortunately, today, one of the biggest changes that has happened in our society is that anybody and everybody has become a content creator. The word influencer, the word content creator you needed a qualification. You needed to have a qualification to be a journalist. You needed to have a certain education background to be an author, right? Or a certain experience. Today, any kid with any creation material, whether it is through Twitter or through Instagram or through TikTok, can just create any content. So remember, the idea of anyone telling any kind of, sharing any kind of content has become a norm in our world today, and people like us have to accept it. Now, let me answer your other question. You talked about learning outcomes. When it comes to learning outcomes, we as educators need to understand and give ourselves credit that all learning that happens in a school cannot be measured, right? In psychology parlance, there's a word called as seeding. You put a seed today, you're not getting a fruit tomorrow morning. So there is a lot that you do in school, like the school assembly or telling children to come on time. These are not outcomes that you measure, but these are learnings, these are skills that you share with children, which becomes a part of their life, and they actually prosper and blossom. Every teenage girl, for example, always has quarrels with the mother. And the same teenage girl, when she's 25, 26, is the best friend with the mother. Have you noticed that? It's because the seeds that the mother sown while the child was growing up took a longer time to sprout. Everyone who left school, they realized the value of school 10 years later, 15 years later, right? So there is one aspect of life skills education, which is seeding. On the other hand, life skills education needs to take children through 3 levels of learning: awareness, understanding, and action. There are certain issues which children will not be aware about. They don't know about it. They've never heard about it. It's never been discussed. It's never been brought into their conscious learning space. So a classroom, a parent, a child, a teacher can bring in issues. For example, I talk to children about good touch, bad touch. So maybe the child is never aware of that issue. So the moment you measure the outcome of a child being aware of it, is a fantastic outcome. There are certain issues that people have heard of, they know of, they're aware of it, but they don't understand it very well. Everybody knows anger. Everybody knows boredom. A lot of people have heard the word empathy. But do you have a proper understanding of that word? So some sessions or some topics could be about enabling a child to understand that issue better. So, and it's the same even with adults. So when we're doing a parenting film, by the way, Tripta, the films are all 15, 20 minutes. That's a trailer you saw.
Okay.
Right. And so when a parent, for example, one of the parenting films talks about how does a psychological impact happen on a child when 2 parents are fighting. When you have quarreling parents, how does it impact the child? Now imagine this child in the morning witness the mummy and papa having a big fight, and he's sitting in the maths class and the teacher is expecting him to concentrate. I mean, come on, that's real life, right? So understanding issues, awareness, there are certain things that children need to be aware of. Certain things children are aware, they need to understand it. There are certain things that children are aware and understand. Children need to take action for it. So any good learning program. So that's what we do through our life skills learning program. In fact, every time a child watches a film, Anupama ma'am, there are activities, there are question and answers. There's a fantastic workbook which was designed with the help of NID in Ahmedabad. It's an outstanding, beautifully designed book which takes children through different levels. Every film has a project that a child can do. So the projects are visible indicators of the action the child has taken for that. Now, the problem is, can you grade this? You can evaluate awareness and understanding and action, but grading is where the problem comes because these are so subjective. Education today, because of this need, it's all objective education that is getting evaluated. But education was supposed to be subjective as well, allowing children choices. And I'll just end by leaving one note here. Our entire education system revolves around children knowing the answer. And that's the biggest crime we are making as educators. What we need to teach children is to ask questions. Because if you ask a question, the world has the answer. If you ask a question and the world doesn't have an answer, and you come up with an answer, you are the innovator, you are the inventor, you are the creator. So either ways, what's more important is to teach children the right questions. So our ability to teach children questioning, but it's so difficult to evaluate that. How do you evaluate a question? You can easily evaluate an answer.
In case whatever we have created, in case we grade that, you're going to kill the entire hard work put by you. Mutta ma'am, you would like to ask a question? I can see two hands raising for a very long time. Mutta ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Tripta, for such a wonderful session. And Mr. Sultan and his team, it seems to be a wonderful work that they have been doing in terms of developing life skills in the student. The question now that I have in my mind is together different aspects. One is talking about film making from the point of view of teaching kids also how to make film. There were nuances that involved, right? Now, another aspect that I feel, or rather I thought the session is all about is that how we are using films in the classroom as a pedagogical tool or as a learning aid, right? So, though we do use, as you mentioned in the beginning, there are some videos that teachers are doing, may not be of the this is what they're doing right. So, you have a lot of film, but from a teacher's perspective or from a school leader's perspective, if I'm going to show something to the child as a movie and want to give some message, I would be very conscious about what does it actually contain. The video giving a message is fine, but even the context matters. So we taught the kids to be global citizens these days, but at the end of the day, the context in which that particular message is being shown matters a lot. So if I have to choose a movie, is there an open source apart from Bollywood and Hollywood movies that we're talking about? Is there an open source from where I can pick up the movie and the source has some kind of synopsis regarding the movie? Because always it may not be possible for me to watch the whole movie before I come to the conclusion that yes, this is for me to show to my kids, right? So is there anything wherein the review is not the kind of review that we see in newspaper regarding a policy or something, but a review which gives me a clear-cut idea or there is some indication which would help me make a decision that as a leader, is it right for my duty in the school? As a leader, as a classroom teacher, is it right for my kids? Even the message may be good. I mean, you can give a message in multiple ways. Say, for example, when I talk about, where I'm coming from is that once I was talking to students about change in the society teacher educator program, and I brought up the issue of homosexual, or when we talk of family constitution to a 3-year-old child now, we cannot not be talking to them about a family wherein the concept of mother-father is not there, or both the roles are being played by both the parents because it's a homosexual marriage, right? I mean, at least 18 years down the line or 15 years down the line, these families would be common. And that would be common only when today we start talking to the kids, when government has given it an acceptance. We may or may not like it, or rather, probably we are not ready to accept it. I, as an individual, find it very difficult to accept it. But can I be close to the society? I mean, the kids that are under my control, can I make them as close to this aspect as it is there? And it led to a lot of issues there, like the teachers and the principals, they were like, no, we can't show this to our kids. It is morally not right. So now what happens is when I'm showing a movie, especially in a global scenario, I will be conscious about what is being, what kind of messages are given, hidden as well as unhidden message. So my question, is there an open source with a review with the proper parameters wherein without watching the movie, I can take a decision how right is it for the kids to be shown?
So
in the class when
Mukta
movies are...
So Mukta ma'am, I will add little value to your question and then pose it to Mr. Sultan. Is ki, Mukta ma'am, Mr. Sultan's cinema takes life skills to the schools, and he showed the clipping which shows about the life skill part of it, the cultural part of it, which is there within that one entire movie. I could, by in that 1 minute, I could take 100 things a child can learn out of it. It is not necessary. Like as a principal, when I was there, when Good Touch Bad Touch came in, I was very, very vigorously teaching even to the small children. And over a period of time, I realized that even a father hugging a child or in a relative hugging a child, normally also it was taken as bad touch by the child. So how do you bring it to the child that he is not scared about the fact? He should be knowing the difference between good touch and bad touch, but he should not be scared of everybody coming and touching him. That should not come in the child's mind. And over to Mr. Sultan, I think he'll be better person to answer this question.
तो थोड़ी देर के बाद मैं उसको मैसेज भेजती
Ma'am, we can mute. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Sultan, over to you.
Yes, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
See, she's sick and she is not well. So she might be sleeping. I will send her a message. You keep it with you and then we will send it. Or if you can send it to her village in the security department, she will get wherever she is.
I think there is some.
Yeah. I'll mute her.
Yeah, mute her.
Ramchandra. बोले क्या मैं बोलूं?
Can we mute her?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I did. I muted.
Yeah. So, Mr. Sultan, over to you.
Right. I think the question which ma'am asked me, Madam Sharma, I think we've been extremely conscious about the manner in which we make our films. And I think that is where we're very, very responsible about it. So all our films start from research. We do a very detailed research with a particular age group to understand what issue needs to be covered. And based on that research, we then look for concepts. We work with the Writers Guild of India, and those concepts that then get converted into a script. And I think my role as an educator, researcher, lies in identifying the right script and the right story. And once that is done, then it's left up to my executive production team to pick up the actors and the sets and the location. So all our films are preceded by research. So every single dialogue in the film, to every comment in the film has been looked through from the lens of how does it impact a child? So I can give you many instances in my films which the director thinks it's okay. For example, I remember there was a film in which there's a parent coming to meet the principal and the principal is having lunch on the table. I said, this doesn't happen. I've never seen this happen in a school. Even in a government school, a teacher will not sit on the table and have lunch while the parent is sitting in front. I said, let's not portray something which is not necessarily right. So we take a lot of, special attention to make sure that if I'm saying it has a good influence, I need to be doubly sure that it doesn't have a bad influence. So I think we're very cautious about it. And I think we've been appreciated for the work we do. On the other hand, Madam was also talking about, is there a place where you get good films and where can it be curated? Yes and no. The reason why I'm saying that is because the question I would pose back to you, do you think your teachers have the capability to actually do the research to understand that this film is useful or not for a child. Because today my understanding is a publisher is deciding what question paper is being given in your unit test and in most schools' terminal exams. Unfortunately, the idea of research, the idea of trying to prepare before coming for a lecture. See, I've spent 6 years of my life in the University of Westminster where I used to teach media pedagogy. I studied there and I used to go back and I used to teach. And I remember for every session that I did, if it was for 1 hour, I probably spent a day researching on that session. In spite of my background, my experience, I was teaching them exactly what I knew already, but yet I would do research. But do teachers do that? So on one hand, I think the teachers today have been so used to digested food, right? That they are not used to researching and analyzing. And if they do, they will end up getting good films. You can choose good clips from existing films. You don't need to show a whole film, right? Can you pick up a 5-minute clip from an existing film? Unfortunately, remember what you need to also keep in mind is, do you have the copyrights? That's why I said yes and no. Do you have the copyright to use that in a school? That's another challenge. And the third thing, there's another point that I would like to make is there are good children's films. So whenever you get to know there is a children's film festival happening, and nowadays there's a lot of them that happen online as well, you'll find some remarkable films to be shown to children. And especially on topics related to adolescence, to sexuality, there are some brilliant films. And I'll end with the last point, which Mukta ma'am also probably had as a question. I might show a certain topic to a child, and that might be objectionable to some parents in my class, right? So let me, this is what I've done as an educator and as an innovator. There are certain topics which are safe and there are certain which are debatable. Start with the safe one. Why are you thinking of starting with the debatable one?
Exactly.
Right. So you go take the path of least resistance. When people appreciate and understand and find value in the medium, then they will start accepting, then you can start pushing the bar. So I think I would encourage a lot of schools to start using, whether it's school cinema films, you can always get in touch with us, or there are some other films which have always been good, but be mindful. Have a look at the film and see it from a child's point of view. Let me ask you a question. 3 Idiots. A lot of people think it's a children's film. I'm sorry, it's not a children's film. It's a film which children have seen in their millions, but I don't think it's good influence on children, because that's not how I would want my principal to be remembered, and that's not the skill sets that I would want my children to learn. But it's an entertaining film, all right. So, as when you're curating, the right word, ma'am, Mukta ma'am, the word is called curating. So you can have a curator, and let me just share a secret over here. One of the problems with schools is that they think that anyone who's working for them should be working full-time. Just get people to come and work with you part-time, on projects. You can involve for film and for theater, you can do that.
The gig word is already in, and schools should also learn and understand and take it forward. That's what I would say. Vinita ma'am, you would like to have any questions? Vinita ma'am, I think she also wanted to ask.
Tripta, I have something to add to Mr. Sultan's word, and to answer Annapurna's question that what is the outcome of a program like this, an education program like this? So to start with, it is access to the latest technology, because when we partner with any photography company, they come with their own set of cameras and lenses. The second would be a professional feedback or on their work, because when we work with Nikon School, we have Nikon School instructors who will give them a constructive feedback. The third would be exposing to different types of photography or filmmaking that in per se. So there are different genres. A child is aware of all those verticals in photography, because photography is not one kind of. They are architectural. There is fashion. There is a picture pattern. So that is the third outcome that you can get with the program like this. Third would be, in that process of attending that workshop, their professional portfolio is also being built. So once a child is completed that program, he is a equipped photographer. He has his own professional photo portfolio that has been reviewed by the best of the photographers. So they're actually adding value to their work. So that is the educational outcome that you can come with a program like this. And to answer Ms. Mukta Sharma's question is, I think all the questions that we are asking about is the end product of a cinema or a film. Technically, when we introduce a program like this, you are enabling a child with a perspective of analyzing a film. Everybody has their own perception. Let's not forget that. Everybody takes everything according to their caliber and to their intellectual. So not every child will grab the same message that is given out to them. But then when we empower a child to understand that there is a superhero movie, answering Ms. Annapurna's question again, we need superhero movies. That's a creative expression of a photographer or a filmmaker. Why do we deny that? That is a fantasy aspect. But then empowering a child with that knowledge that this is a super fictional, this is a fictional work of art, and that is an expression of creativity. Why do we deny a child with that kind of film? But then making him realize this is fiction and this is non-fictional. That's what the photography teaches them. To understand that, okay, this is an art of fiction. My children, to be very frank, let me say, why did we started this program? It started because of my daughter. She was 5-year-old. She started using the camera. And in Middle East, there were no after-school program like photography. My daughter started taking amazing pictures with my D5300. I said, let me start a program like this. And Nikon came on board. I know that every child is capable of understanding what is good and bad. My children nowadays watches horror movie, but then they understand that this is a perception of a photographer or filmmaker, and that's his vision that we're talking about. So when you empower a child of a program like this, you are actually telling him that it's okay. Actually, we cannot take out we cannot take out the good and bad from the society. It's always going to be there. In fact, their world is always adding up to different challenges. But then I would say, teach them what is to understand that good and bad. We cannot take out everything out from their world.
Absolutely,
we cannot.
That clarity
we cannot.
needs to be there. Clarity
needs to be there. Yes, and that's what this program will give them, the clarity of what is a cinema, if it's bad or good.
So to add on and bring the things a little more closer in, Mr. Sultan wants, with his work, with his passion, to bring in life skills through cinema, and each movie cannot have one learning outcome. That 1 minute showed me 100 things. I mean, as a person, I would love that 1 minute movie which Mr. Sultan showed about apple and oranges. I could think about so many things I can teach to a child, and it has to be open-ended. Rather than me telling, look at this. Yes.
Tripta, at the end of this session, I'm going to share a couple of links of films with passwords. You can share it with the audience that's attending, so they get a good understanding of what the film is. I'll share one children's film and one parents' film.
Perfect. Okay. So it is very, very important to be having, and as a teacher, I have to come out of one learning outcome from the movie or a chapter or a half an hour session which I'm doing. I have to think beyond. Because life is much more beyond than curriculums. Life is much more beyond schools. Because when the school ends, the learning actually starts. The implementation of whatever you have learned, it is much more beyond your learning outcomes which starts. And that comes only with your experiences, with your small experiences in like Rocky movie, or even we all have our own experiences. I will not remember what my ma'am had a learning outcome when I was in grade 5 teaching one chapter, but I will remember what she made me feel in that half an hour session and what I took out of it. Vinita ma'am, any questions from you?
Not questions, but I'm quite happy. I can relate to what all of you are talking about. I've seen very closely photography clubs working in schools. That little Jingbang working on photography, look at the kind of new learning that happened. And as I speak to you about this, I'm reminded of how, it was children with their cameras running out of the classrooms, trying to locate areas that they could photograph. What is it that they had to photograph about, talking about equipment. So all that, of course, I have seen. But on the other side, parallelly, I think about what happened yesterday, when class 12 results were declared. you know, there was this sense of tension. Right now, Sultan talked about the school system and how closed we are. We find it difficult to allot any time for the fine arts, for theater, for drama, even for sports. You know, we have to have that mandatory 1 hour or 2 hours per month or per week or whatever. So therefore, while all of you were talking, I thought, you know, because 9, 10, 11, 12 gets clubbed with the CBSE and the board examinations. So that's where it's very tough to take on children, you know, and ask them to give you time, because the IIT begins and AIMS begins and the medical tests, etc. All that starts. So usually schools try to introduce photography and other clubs and other learning, say somewhere around class 2, class 3, you can begin. That's when nobody will question you with time. You know, till class 8, it's easier to manage clubs. It's easier to manage that 1 extra hour of photography every 2 days or every 3 days. So therefore, I mean, I don't know if you could try that out, you know, and then automatically, once they finish class 8, children take it over by themselves to class 9, 10, 11, and 12. They would want, they would want to continue in 9, 10, 11, 12. So there is this, you know, constant tussle between schools and teachers and students and parents and everybody else, because photography is a realm, you know, that really needs a lot of time. It needs a lot of understanding, but then it is so fruitful. And NEP right now talks about skill development. You know, in focus is skill development. And right now, if you give it that little NEP turn, you know, that skill development is so important, and there is this focus on it. And therefore, every little 2 minutes spent on photography will give children, I think, plenty. It will give them hours of understanding, a new perception. Children will be able to look at new areas. You know, imagine children doing that. I see my own grandchildren with photography. They're little 5-year-olds, and they're busy clicking pictures, and they talk about what they've seen. The expression has improved. They're trying to understand what is beyond the camera, beyond what their lives are. And therefore, I think photography is interesting. It ought to be a part of, you know, I don't know which way we can, but then it's up to the schools to take it up. But then class 1 to class 8 is the period where you can really, you know, take it with gusto. You can take it up with gusto. So
can I just add one point?
I want to watch that film with oranges and apples. I missed out that point in the first 10, 15 minutes. I'm sorry, but I'd like to see that film, please.
Yes.
While I agree with Anita ma'am, I have one issue with what she said. And I think it's important that I bring it out. You know, schools throughout, I've seen my 20 years career, they do everything till grade 8. Grade 9 and 10 is focused on exams.
Oh, yes.
Two or three reasons why there should be more activities for children in grade 10 and 12. One, the stress levels are higher. If the stress levels are higher, they need more sport. They need more activities for them to get out and get rid of their system. And I can assure you, some of the best performing schools and best performing children have always had a lot of extracurricular activities, even in their 10th and 12th. Second point, how many of us have we heard, you know, I used to dance when I was in school. I used to play a sport when I was in school. I used to paint when I was in school. And if you trace back that statement, you will find that most of them stopped all of this when they were in grade 10. It's because there was a conscious effort of both parent and school to kill it.
Yes.
And let me assure you one thing. If we can teach our children to live with a hobby all their life, that's the biggest education a school would have given a child. Because hobbies are the biggest stress busters.
I agree with Sultan. It is there. You know, all the schools after children enter class 9, forget everything else, and it's only concentration on academics. And like you said right in the beginning, that it is a business. You know, it is a business. People have they've invested you know, crores of rupees on establishing a school. So think, school education is in transition, and you will find maybe 6 months, 1 year down the line when NEP comes into slightly more focus, Right now people are talking about it, but once they start implementing, I'm sure photography will come into the picture then. Let it come.
Photography and life skills. Life skills also,
skills. Because people are still trying to understand what life skills is all about.
All about, yeah. Ma'am, you want like to answer, yeah.
May I add a little over here?
Yes.
Well, it was very, very nice to listen to the whole dialogue and the discussion as usual. Sultan, it was great to listen to you all over again. What I notice is that our idea of education needs rethinking. We are looking at education and compartmentalizing it to a very large extent. The academic side and the extracurricular and the life skill side. Can we not amalgamate it and then look upon it as a whole complete package which requires to be connected in every way? Because life is connected. I mean, every part of our life is connected. So why do we have to compartmentalize academics on one side and life skills on the other? When we are amalgamating it, that is a whole unique product which is coming out around the individual.
Yeah. So let me answer that historically. I'll give you a historical answer for that, Zenobia ma'am. When I talk about salt I study in chemistry or in physics or in geography or in history. Where should I study salt? Our forefathers who founded the education system found it easier to take out strands and explain the strands individually. But the problem is no aspect or no part of our education system puts it all together and presents it to a child. I think the primary and the middle school should focus on segmenting it and teaching it to children, whereas the high school ideally should be focused, or at least finishing school in college, should focus about how does this all come together? Where does English and math come together? We learn math, but we don't learn finance management. We learn English, but we don't learn communication. So I think that disconnect from learning to life is there. I want to make a statement here. I've been a part of the HRD Ministry's Chintan Shivars for the new education policy, the national education policy and life skills. I think it's one of the most brilliant ideations when it comes to education. It's far-reaching. It has great scope. And I have one big worry for it. And the worry is, if this government comes back in term the next time the NEP gets implemented. If they don't come back,
will go down.
Unfortunately, we play tennis and football with our educational system in this country. I hope and pray that good sense prevails. And even if you have a newer government coming in or a different set of people coming in, because you know what happens to CCE? NEP is talking about it now after goddamn 10 years. You started it, implemented it, killed it, and now you want to start it again. So like Vinita ma'am said, NEP has great foresight. Right? And I think it can be revolutionary for this country. Some parts of it are debatable, right? Let's not always do politics in what happens in this country. Some parts are debatable. I think it's the question of implementation. I hope and pray that newer governments will have the sense to continue the good work.
See, Sultan, can I just a minute, please? Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Sultan, thank you for that. See, interdisciplinary and integrated approaches have just arrived into the Indian scene, in the school scene. In colleges and all, it was already applied, children were learning. But in the school system, it was very difficult, where maths was different, social science was different. But in the last 2-3 years, we've been watching schools begin to become interdisciplinary. Because we do not have text, so that means how does one go about it? So therefore, in many schools, there's a conscious effort to merge history, geography, languages, mathematics. So they're doing it. It's difficult because the system has been so, you know, in the last 70 years, we've only had that one textbook changed, I think, twice or thrice. And we're still working on textbooks that were written so many years ago. Nothing has changed. So therefore, it is tough. And the two words that I mentioned have come into focus right now. It's happening, but it's going to be slow.
And we all have to pledge to take it. Even the government saying this system should be so strongly implementing that we will not let it change. Last time when CCE was not implemented, with the one reason that most of teachers were not ready to implement, thinking that it's a lot of work. The moment we
I'm sorry, I would love to add. Give me a minute to speak.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Anju ma'am. Yes, please.
Yeah. Good day, everybody. And it has been very, very nice to listen to Sultan Ahmed. You know, Sultan, I have been the school where I had worked as a founder principal for 16 years. We had your this monthly magazine Mentor subscribe, you know, and I'm a big fan of the way the things are coming out and you are taking initiative for all that. CC Tripta did not get implemented because of the teachers. I take it as because the school management did not pay attention to the training of the teachers for the CC to be implemented. It could not be implemented well. If I talk about my school, even before the CC came, for up to class 8, we were actually doing CC. And when it came for 9th, 10th classes, we found no worries, no hiccups, nothing. It was as easily implemented as you are doing in the middle classes. So it was just because of the school management, those who are there for the commercial purposes.
So ma'am, we have to understand that, you know, even 20-30% of the schools are doing it. Till the time it goes beyond 50%, NEP will be difficult to implement it. We have to handle each other. We should see that the next door school, in case they want help from me, I should be there to help them out. Everybody should stand together as individuals to pledge to bring it NEP, because it affects our children. It affects the future of the country.
Tripta, can I get again what? Since you are talking about CC and you are talking that we must come and handle the next door school. Believe me, Tripta, I must not speak it here. But when CC was implemented in my school, means everywhere by CBSE, and the neighboring school called me because we were already doing, you know, I wasn't allowed by the management to go and share.
Exactly.
Where are we talking about when the entire school system is thriving on the competition that I do better than you, then I get the business? Where do we do these things? This is the bitter truth of the day. It's all competition.
Mr. Sultan, yes.
Dirty competition. I won't teach you anything.
Yeah. And you know,
Mr. Sultan also add.
You know, I'm going to make two last points. I see some very seasoned educators here, whether it's Zenobia ma'am, Mr. Sharma, Madam Kher. You know, you will be committing a crime if you don't share your learning and your experience. Right? So figure out a way of either blogging or, you know, figure out a way technology allows you to do it. So my idea of mentor has always been to share best practices. On the other hand, a very, very important point, CCE or NEP, you will never be able to implement it if you don't use technology. All of you have witnessed something that's happened in the past 1 year. The moment classes went digital, the job of a teacher went up tenfold, because every time a teacher did an online class, she sent out 40 mails, got 40 answers back. Then her WhatsApp was full, her email was full. That is not called as digital or online education. There is one simple word. It's called as a learning management system. If a school today does not implement an LMS, you cannot even call yourself a digital school. What you are doing is you're just doing a Zoom call. It's not online education. So CCE, NEP, any kind of continuous evaluation, tracking, data, sharing, analyzing, improving, and then making changes to your curriculum, content, or whatever that you want to do. Data does it brilliantly. Technology does it best. Don't expect your teachers to do it, please. Otherwise, the teacher will again. The teacher killed CCE. The teacher killed the smart class. The teacher will kill the NEP as well. So let's remember, technology is required here.
So to end off with Mr. Yeah.
Tripta, I'd like to say this is the best time actually. You know, COVID has given us a lot of churn. You know, so much of thinking is going on, and we've got to bombard our school systems with lots of new information. And I'm sure they'll pick it up. Over the next 6 months to 1 year, something will happen. It's moving, lots of churning, lots of talk. I've never seen so much talk in the last so many years than what I have in the last, say, 1 year. So much of talk happening on education. Even teachers have come down to talking, you know, about education. So that's a good sign.
Yes.
And we are hopeful. We are hopeful.
Yeah, and because of that, EMI with Classroom.live, we are giving away. We've spoken to them. We told them that give 1 month of learning system of hybrid learning free to the schools, to teacher to understand it, implement it. Anybody who wants in the school, come back to me. They're giving 1 month of hybrid learning, understanding free to the teacher, where the teacher has got only one work to do is teach.
Yeah.
And rest, everything is taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm so
I think really,
happy when
thank
Sultan
you.
says, go and share your learning with everyone. That's what then I took the call.
Yes.
I moved on from the school and now I am giving back to the society.
Yes. Yes, and that is the vision of EMI actually, that we need to share our learning and grow and be academic partners in the growth of the school ecosystem in our country. That is the basic vision of EMI actually.
And to reach,
thank you everyone. Thank you everyone.
And Mr. Sultan, with the end note to Arya and Mr. Sultan and all the esteemed guests, I'm really, really honored for you to bring in such hot session with taking your movies, your cinema, your art film festival to the schools, your children's film festival to the schools. I would like to be part of it, as in whenever we can, Mr. Sultan, to take this life skills to the schools.
Sure. Be happy to.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that.
Thank
And
you so much.
definitely
Thank you very
we'll
much,
look forward.
Sultan.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan.
Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sultan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Annapurna ma'am.
Thank you, Anju ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Arya. Thank you, Arya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zinova ma'am. You are wonderful.
Thank you. Yes.
Would like to be in touch with you.
Yes. You are muted. You are muted, actually.
Thank you, Zenobia ma'am. It was good to see you after so many years.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm still struggling with the technology. That is my problem. I would love to share a lot of information, but I'm learning.
Tripta, you must do a session with Zenobia ma'am. She's like a encyclopedia of
I would love to
work
have your
that
number,
she's done
ma'am.
with
In case you can
schools.
tell, I would love to do it. Love to
Especially
take
on the
your
mental
session.
well-being of children, I think she's done some outstanding work, and as someone I've always looked up to.
Yeah.
Thank you
Zinova
very
ma'am,
much.
I would love to have your number, ma'am, in case you can put it on chat box, or I will take
Sure,
it to
I
Mr.
will.
Sultan.
I will. I will.
Thanks. Bye, Tripta.
Bye,
Thank you so much, Mr.
Bye.
Sultan. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sultan. Wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll definitely be in touch. We'll
Sure.
definitely be in touch.
Thank you.
And thank you, Vinita ma'am.
Yes.
Vinita ma'am is there.
Stopping the recording.
Ma'am, we can't hear you. You're muted.
You're muted.
That was interesting, Annapurna and Tripta. Yeah, that was very interesting, and it can be done. Why not? I think all the you should start small, say from class 2, 3, when children can handle cameras, and you can actually start. And in the schools that are known to you, I think you can always start, with 2 classes a week or something like that.
Yes, ma'am.
As a photography club, because
Yes, so that's what Nikon is holding hands, ma'am. They are having a full-fledged program, a business intermediate program and all. And we will be taking them to these schools, partnering with Nikon, because that will be a wonderful way of
Yeah.
bringing advanced skill to the school.
It will be a different world completely, you know, for children and teachers also.
Yes.
And it will be great fun. Really.
And then I feel for the teachers, ma'am, they're just taught one way of teaching.
Yeah.
They have not been exposed to the other way of the schools and learning in the children. What has it been taught? They will be only imparting that. The moment they get exposed, the moment they're exposed of different ways of teaching and beyond one learning outcome and having 10 learning outcome from one thing, things will be very, very different.
It's happening. It's happening.
It's happening. And it cannot happen overnight.
To happen. No, it will change. Change will definitely come.
It's
Change will definitely come.
You have to just keep pushing it and seeing to it that happens. And I think principals also will have to, you know, engage with photography and creative arts and fine arts and all. So it will happen. It will take a while. And even 1 or 2 periods in a week, I've seen it myself happening. You know how children start carrying their cameras and all, and then they make people conscious. You know, taking pictures.
Yes.
Yes.
Even teachers get conscious. लड़के का पता नहीं चलेगा.
जहाँ पे skill development की बात आती है, I always remember the poem of Loris Malaguzzi, 100 languages. Children have got 100 languages to tell, and we tell no, only what we know. You have to know that. Nothing beyond that. You should read that poem. It is beautiful. The child has got 100 languages. I will share it with you, ma'am.
They have. Share it right away.
Yeah, right away I will share it with you, ma'am.
I'll disconnect. I've got people working in the house today.
Okay, sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining.
Very interesting. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Bye-bye.
Tripta ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Srividya here, and first time I'm attending this event, and thanks a lot, quite a lot of takeaways.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, because I basically work on modules for parents and teachers wherein I integrate mindfulness to emotional intelligence. It's a very beginning stage.
Okay.
Opportunity to work in one school in Kerala and with specialization on games and activities.
Wow.
So how it can be integrated to classroom management. So very, like, you know, I'm still on the working stage, and that's why I said quite a lot of takeaways for me, because it gives.
Ma'am, do share your number, ma'am. We keep having these kind of workshops every once in a month. So
definitely
we will keep sending you the links, ma'am.
Yeah, so it was like, you know, quite a bit of learning for me, different perceptions, how it can be integrated into all the workshops.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Our pleasure. Thank you. I'll stop the recording.